At the end of this tutorial, this is what you'll be able to create. You'll be able to create a Bitmoji that has facial features, mouth, lip sync, draggers, full body animation, and the rest. Just stick to the end, please. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So a few days ago I was contacted to create a character, a Bitmoji. So initially I had started the project, and then there's a reason why you can see that the character is already been made. I already started the character, and then I decided that maybe I could turn this into a video, a tutorial. So what you just need to know is all I've done is trace the character. She sent me an image for me to make into an Adobe character puppet. So what I did is I traced the hair, I've traced the face, I've traced so many parts. I tried to make those parts, those moving parts, those parts I want to use the dangle, like the hair, for the hair to be able to bounce, to be hair to be bouncy. So I made those parts separate, and as you can see, that's basically it. So the reason why some of you can see some highlights and this in the character, there are some highlights and some other stuff like that. So I had to use a different color brush to make those highlights and those dark regions. So that's basically it. I will not be talking too much in this video. I just wanted to follow the process. It's mostly tracing, but I'll definitely be talking about how I rigged the character and some other things. But maybe I'll just time lapse. I'll just time lapse the rest of the process. Just follow it. Yeah, I'm trying to keep this video as brief as possible, but if you want a step-by-step tutorial on this, maybe just drop a comment and I'll try to do that. What I did here was I picked the color from the from the character so that it matches. I'll pick the color and then use the paint bucket to paint over those parts. But you have to ensure that you have blocked every leakage, else the it won't work. So just block every leakage. You could use the pen tool and get a transparent color and then block those parts. And that's exactly what I did in some areas. Yeah. One tip that is really helpful is always use the isolation tool. The isolation, that you isolate the layer you want to work on, so that especially when you're tracing, but even when you're not tracing, you can also use it. It's very helpful. It will help you not to damage, like start and doodling in part where you're not supposed to. What you do is you pick the layer, the group, or whatever like that, and then you click the option is just you click the option on the layer panel there, and then you see isolation. You put that particular group or layer in isolation, and then you can draw over that part. So that is another helpful tip. A large chunk of what I did in this character is mostly tracing. Basically, all you need to know is you select the color. That's especially for characters like this with highlights. You select the color for that particular region, and then you use the stroke. You follow through and then you make sure there's no leakage, and then you paint. Use the paint bucket to paint over it. The rest you can use highlights and a lighter color to make highlights, a darker color to make shadow or darker regions or whatever like that. So I'm just going to keep, yes, I just need to speed up this process. The major part I know you're interested in is how to create the character. You see what I'm doing right here is listen, I'm trying to create the blush, but one issue that you might find is when you import this into Adobe Character Animator, that making transparency doesn't work. Transparency, especially from Adobe Character Animator, doesn't work. Sorry, from Illustrator doesn't work in Character Animator. So what you have to do is, okay, I'm going to show you that, but I'm just going to explain here. Is what you just need to do is in Character Animator you go and then you reduce the opacity there. So that's just basically it. You reduce the opacity. Any part that will be moving, that you either be using a dragger or just any part that is loosed, you have to draw them in a separate layer or a separate group. In my own case, the reason why I am using group instead of using layers, it's one thing you end up realizing is for the character, for you to okay, let me just explain this. What I'm doing here is I'm gradually drawing the eyebrow, the eyes. I'm trying to make the blink, but I'm not just going in and just, normally people just go in and just put the blink and whatever like that. Me, I like to put it into a cycle so that it is smoother, it moves, so that the movement is smoother. And what I do here is I keep reducing the eyes up until she blinks. This will ensure that you could also use all these other parts or the other reduction, and you could use it and create a different kind of emotion in the face. So yeah, I'm working on the leaves, but I'll further work on that eventually. But now I'm just placing things and then I'm just arranging it and whatever like that. You can duplicate the iris to the other side so you don't have to redraw it, that kind of thing. And then you put in the shade. You can use what is it called, the gradient tool. Yes, sorry, I don't know, I'm blacking out. The gradient tool, you can use the gradient tool to create those smooth transition in the hair. And then now I'm tracing the body. This is self-explanatory. You just trace through it, and then you eventually put the highlights and the darker, the shadows and stuff like that. So it's the same thing over and over. You just keep doing the same thing like that. And then places that you cannot see, you can just infer what you think should be there. Like in this case, I do not, because I have to. You don't just leave it at the hand just because you are not seeing what is behind the hand. So you have to actually infer what is there. The reason I'm using yellow right here is so that I can see it without using the isolation tool, without putting that layer into isolation, so it's easier to see. If I use the same blue that is there, everything will just blur into each other, will just blend it to each other. So it's better I use yellow so that I can actually eventually recolor it and stuff like that. And that is what I'm doing right here. So what you should know is, what I normally do is, there's no special way of making character, but I think my ways has been perfected to a point because I've been creating characters for years and years and years. So I have years of experience, so I understand what works and what doesn't. I think the best way to do it is to separate the torso, and then put this part that I'm working on right now. This part is called I call it the crotch region. You separate that too from the torso. Normally people put them together, but I found that it is better it is separate on its own, so that you could actually do some things with it. And I believe I will come to that eventually. I will explain further. So yeah, basically what I'm doing here is tracing, highlighting, blah blah blah, same old. You just need to know the parts that are supposed to be separate. You keep the legs separate. What I do is I keep the lap separate from the, I don't know what it's called, but the lower leg side, like from the knee downwards. I keep them separate from each other. And then in some cases, just so that I can replace the shoes at any point, I keep that separate, so I do not draw that together with the leg. So those are regions I keep separate. Same principle I apply. I'm sorry. Same principle I apply to the hands. So what I do is I use from the finger is separate. The fingers in your own case, that's it, because you have to create so many triggers for it. So the finger is separate from the wrists, that's to the elbow, and then the elbow to the shoulders separate. So you keep those parts separate, and then so that you'll be able to easily manipulate those parts eventually when the time comes for you for those kind of stuff. Especially when you want to create a cycle trigger for the whole entire hand, not just the fingers. Maybe you do not want to use draggers for the hands, so you use cycles, which I seriously prefer. I do not like using draggers for the hands. It just takes too much time to animate, and it makes the whole animation look very, I don't know. I prefer drawing the entire this hand movement and stuff, so that I can make the hand do very extreme actions, like let's say like making point towards the screen, all those kind of things that need for shortening. So it's better to draw it, but this is actually the easiest way. The easiest way is to use the draggers. So I don't know, let me think of another tip. Okay, so another thing you should consider is, okay, that's what I'm doing right here. You can see that I separate the from the wrist to the, okay, now this is it. I've taken my time. I've created characters with hand movement and stuff like that, so I do not have to go through the process, because that is a seriously time consuming process, creating the fingers and stuff like that. Oh god, just thinking of it makes me want to scream my my heads off. So what I did was I picked from the characters I've already created. Since the hands are actually similar to this particular character, what I did was pick these groups of fingers and then import it into my own character. You see me doing that in so many of my tutorials, because honestly speaking, I do not want to go through the process of, maybe in some other video I'll go through the process of creating this in fingers and different this thing. If there's no special kind of finger that I have to create, a special kind of trigger, maybe a character is maybe a client is requesting I make a character that is probably holding something, or maybe holding a ball and throwing it. Of course, now I have to create the fingers. But for special for very basic things, I've already created those fingers for them, like pointing, like touching, like squeezing, like angry, those kind of things. Like I've already created those things, so I'm not going to go through that stress of creating those things all over again. So what I do was I just import those fingers, and then I color it. I give it the same color with the character. And then in this case, if you notice, the finger, the line art for this finger is actually very slim. So what I do is I go through it again and thicken it up so that it matches. If not, it will look very displaced, or very it won't look like it's I don't know, it won't look like it's meant for the character. So what you do is you retrace over those lines, you make it thicker. Okay. This process is actually easy. I understand that you do not have these fingers available to you. So what you can do is you can go to the website. The site will be in the description. So you just go there and you pick whichever character you want, and then you use whatever asset is there. These fingers are separated. I did not use layers for them. I used group. So you can just select an entire cluster of group and edit their color without going one after the other and doing this. So it's easier for you to work with and stuff like that. So just go in, pick a character, and also this character will be available on the site. You can also pick this character and use whatever asset you want, whatever thing you want to do with it. That is all. That is your own business. Okay, yes. So now I'm working on the eyes. I thought I did that. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing right here. I believe I should be working on the eyebrow, so I do not know. Okay, now, nice. That is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing right here. So what I do is, normally people start redrawing the eyebrow and whatever like that. I do not do that. I try as much as possible to make this character easy for myself to edit in the future, so that I do not have to go through the rigor, like redoing things that honestly who just, I don't know, I cannot start going through process, especially since this is actually what makes my character extremely cheap, because I reuse assets. I make these characters without so much stress, because I just keep duplicating functions and stuff like that. So what I do is, instead of recreating the eyebrow from scratch, like redrawing every single thing that I want, like every single frame and stuff like that, of the eyebrow going up and going down, whatever, what I do is I use the pen tool to create those things. I just doodle a line around like that and just create it. I create the angry state and whatever like that, the surprise state and the rest, and I make it into a cycle trigger. That is actually very important, because it won't just make so much sense if the character's eyebrow just moves from angry to like straight up to like smiling or stuff like that. So what you're supposed to do is to put something in between to make it smooth. That is exactly what I'm doing in this my character and in every character I make. So what you do is you use the pen tool to create each of these, and then you pick the eyebrow. You create just one eyebrow. You create just one, and then what you do, you straighten it, and then you convert it into a brush. Yes, you convert it into a brush, and then when you convert it into a brush, you now select all the pen, the lines that you just created, and then you select that brush. I don't know, maybe I should explain it further, but for now let me talk about the mouth. I'll come back to that. So what I do is I have to create this mouth. I have to create it manually, because I cannot just use a previous mouth I have and stuff like that. So what I do is I go through, I pick the layer, like the visms, the M visms and those things like that. So I work on those particular ones. You just draw it. This one, there's no way around it. You just have to draw now. So that's just it. You use those. You can use whatever amount from your previous character as a basis for you to be able to understand how much you have to exaggerate the mouth, how much the mouth has to be open, and if the tongue is supposed to be out, or the okay. Now back to the eyes, to the eyebrow. What you just need to know is you use the pen tool, you create whatever shape you want the eyebrow to take, and then now you select that part. You select that part, and then you convert it into the brush you just created. That is the eyebrow brush. The first step is to create the eyebrow brush. So what you do is you draw the eyebrow at whatever position, whatever way you want it. But now at the end of the day, you have to ensure that it is straight. You could draw it and use the puppet tool to make it straight. You make it straight, and then you select it and convert it into a brush. Now after converting it into a brush, you use the pen tool to create whatever shape of eyebrow you want it. You want it to be angry, so you make it a bit you make it lower and stuff like that. You bend it, twist it whatever way you want, and then you select that that part you just created with the pen tool. You select it, and then you convert it. You select the brush. That's the eyebrow, the brush you just created. You select it, and then it will become the pathway will now look like the eyebrow is taking that pathway. So that is just basically it for the eyebrow. And then you keep doing that. You do that, and then you convert it into a group, and then you convert it into one, and then blah blah blah. You could just create for one particular this thing. You could create for just one side of the eyebrow, and then you duplicate it and take it to the other side, and then you combine it. So that's basically it. Now I think I'm done with the character, so I'm kicking up Adobe Character Animator. So this part is simple, and I'm not going to time lapse this part, as this part might just be hard to follow, especially for beginners. So what you do is you pick the AI file you just created, you import it into Adobe Character Animator, and that's it. That's not it, of course, but like that's basically how to import it. Create a new scene, drag, drop in your timeline, and then you'll be able to see the character, ensure that the character is looking good, and then now we'll start the rigging process. Now you go into the rigging panel. As you can see, the blush doesn't have any opacity, so I think that is the first thing I did. I went in and okay, that's not the first thing I did. all right okay, so just for context, so that you understand what is going on, this was not recorded live. I had to I recorded my screen because I think I was having issues with the audio at one point, so I decided to record the screen and then put in the voice in later. So yeah, I think I just added okay, yes, I added the blush. I made it because one thing you need to understand is Adobe Character Animator will just combine a complete layer if it's not layered, if it's not named correctly. So that's what you need to know. So you have to name it. You cannot leave it in that that directional arrow, that's this group and whatever. Like, you have to name it or use a layer. So yes, I just reduced the opacity to make the blush come out, to make it look normal. Okay, so now you drag, yes, and then now I'm going to be adding the dangle to make the hair bouncy, so that when she's moving it looks like a real hair is moving, that kind of thing. And then normally you do it also to the hair behind the character, but I did not for this particular character. I believe I did not. So yes, I just created the eyebrow and this in triggers, and then I decided to put a trigger and this in keys to attach a keys to each of them, and I used 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 6. I think 6 was the last one. Yes, 6. And then I converted them. I made them into cycle. I added a behavior to them. Yes, thank you, behavior. A cycle behavior to them, so that it cycles through whenever I click any of these keys. Yes. And so also working on the mouth. Okay, the mouth is it's complete. Yes, it's complete. And then the iris, now I'm going to be adding a dragger to it. Yes, you could attach it so that the person will be able to, the client or you'll be able to use control it with your own eyebrow facing the screen, but I prefer using draggers. And then you select the eye so that it will limit the movement of the iris, like that, so that the iris doesn't just go into the head and stuff like that. So that's another thing. Okay, so I added blink. I think I added blink, and then added walk, because these two, in some cases they come automatically, in some cases they do not. I found that the strength of walk should be at 75. That is the sweet spot. You can make it whatever way, you can make it more than that, you can make it lower than that, but that is my own sweet spot. So cycle layers, I normally put them at 2 frames per second, so that it gives it that crispy animation kind of thing. So it's moving at 2 frames per second. So for the blink, I also do this in 2 frames per second. That's for the cycle. The reason why you can see it's not highlighted, it's not showing, it's this is because, yes, I have to latch it. Now coming to the eyebrow, the iris, sorry, you have to clip it. You have to create a clipping mask so that it is looking like it's behind the eyes. Use a clipping mask. It's just try it and see. Now for the head, okay, I think I added, yes, okay, I'm adding this now. I'm adding a fix there, and then I'm adding a jaw below, so that her jaw moves when she's talking. For the entire head, you put a dragger there, you put in the neck too there, so that you can control the character and the head pops when she walks. For the hand, now you put it there, yes, and then you could put the shoulders, you could put the elbow and the wrist. Yes, I believe, yes. Now I'm putting the elbow and the wrist. I'm attaching them so that she can actually use her body to control the character. In my own case, when I'm doing this, normally I do not like attaching them, because I like to control things manually. I do not use the camera to control my characters. But in her own case, she wants full body movement feature, so I did that. Adding the bones so that the bend is not snaky. It's not like a snake or something like that. What is it called? Rubber hose hand, something like that. Yeah, I think I might be splitting this video into 2, because I think this is like 30 something minutes. It is the 27th minute, and I think it goes to like 30 something minutes or so. Like, I'm going to be splitting them into 2 and uploading them as part 1 and part 2. So what am I doing here? Okay, oh yes, you cannot leave it as group. It will not show, it will just merge everything together, so you have to make them 1, 2, 3, or whatever you want. You can list it whatever way you want. Yes, so you have to rename each group. Every group you create, you have to rename it so it doesn't merge, especially for groups that you do not want them to merge. But if you do want them to merge, you can leave them as it is. So now I'm creating a cycle, not a cycle, sorry, a trigger. I'm creating triggers for the fingers. And yeah, I think I attached them for the right hand also. I did QWERTY, like that, and then for the other hand I use ASDF, blah blah blah, like that for the other fingers, like that. And then for the body, you add the waist, yeah, the waist, and then I think the right hip and the left hip, yeah, you add those. Position them right. Then now you work on the legs. You drag, make the leg a hinge, make it a hinge. It's good that way. You could leave it at welt, but hinge is good too. Hinge is better actually, especially when you want it to work. I think I added bones. Some characters you do not need to add the bones. Maybe you want the character's leg to be a bit swanky, to be snaky kind of thing, rubber kind of legs, so you can leave it like that. But in this character I did have to add the bones, and then you add the pin there, just so, because sometimes I found out that sometimes when the characters walk, a part of it is like it detaches from the body, so when you add in a pin there, it doesn't, the other part will the other part will bend, but that particular part will not bend. You add the bones, and then this is basically it. I think so. It's not, but like this is, in fact, any other thing I'm doing, I think this is basically for the character, but I'll still go further. Okay. I forgot the left hand. Okay, for this, the whole thing that you need to understand is the hand is behind the body of the character, so you have to hide that part to be able to see and rig that particular part. And that's exactly what I just did right here. And make sure you add the dragger, to the wrist and dragger to the elbow, so that you can manipulate those parts on their own. I added the A, S, T, F, G, H, blah blah blah. Same old. Okay, this is the part I enjoy the most in creating characters, honestly. I do like drawing, of course, but rigging is calming. I honestly enjoy rigging, aside from the fact that in some cases when you are rigging, you have to go back to the character, the raw file, and work on it and fix some other issues that you might be finding, that you might discover in the Adobe Character Animator, or something that doesn't work right or so. But I do enjoy rigging. Normally when I'm rigging, I drop my drawing tablet and just use the mouse. Okay, so now you can see that the hair is dynamic, the hair is moving, but if you notice, the neck is not. I did not notice this at first. The name at, I think the head name was not, it was not, yes, I think it was not attached to the neck, that was why. So I fixed that, and as you can see, she's walking correctly, but the body is warping. And that is because of the pin. The character pin is at her chest. You put it at the center. You select the character itself, put it at the center. And one thing I did not notice was, okay, that particular, the first layer of the character is supposed to be independent. It's not supposed to be not independent. So that is the reason why it's still doing like this, but at least it's not at the chest. So this is actually a bit better compared to how it was initially. If you see, the character is blinking, and the blinking is a bit smooth, and the movement of the eyebrow is smooth, because there is a cycle that it goes through. So yeah, that actually makes the character good. And what else did I test? Yeah, the blink is good, the walk is all right. Okay, and then yes, the dragger for the eyebrow, for the iris, sorry, why am I always saying eyebrow? For the iris is working fine. What else? I believe, okay, yes, the blink. Now if you notice, the blink is blinking, but there is a part that is out, and that is because the mask is accounting for the dark point of her eyebrow. That is the reason why that part is out. I did fix it in the later version of this character. I don't know if I did in this particular tutorial, but I did fix it later. All you just need to do is to create another eyebrow. You just duplicate the eyes. Sorry, I said the eyebrow. You duplicate the eyes, Did I do that? You duplicate the eyes, and then you place it above the iris, and then you make sure you map it to the same controls, to the same triggers. You map it to the same triggers, and now, but you remove the white part, you remove the white color inside, so it's just the black outlines that is present. Please, if you're having issues with this, just comment it below, and I believe I would do a separate tutorial for this particular issue. Okay, now I was trying to test the visms, that's the mouth visms. So I don't know if the audio will come out. Oh, the audio is not coming out, but at least you can see the mouth moving and the jaw moving correctly. So yeah, I believe this character is good, ready to be sold or whatever, to be sent to the client who requested for it. Okay, just try the dragger. The dragger for the neck is working fine. The dragger at the knee is also working fine. The foot, I'm not too good with how the foot is moving. I believe I fixed that in a later version of this particular character. The hands, okay. The hand triggers, try it. Okay, good. It's working fine. Good. Hand triggers also working fine. Okay. Maybe we should take a snapshot. Boom. Okay, I believe this is all. Thank you for watching. Please, for more tutorials, comment, like, subscribe to our channel. It will really help us, and eventually we'll be able to put out free characters. We do have free characters on the site, so just go in, check. You can pick free mount, free whatever, free assets and stuff like that, and use in your own work. So for now, thank you for watching, and bye for now.